Well, if it isn't the Nintendo Switch 2 selling out immediately. Guys, there is nothing that I love more than making a video saying I was right. Oh yes, I was right. Oh my god, I'm patting myself on the back, boys. I'm patting myself on the back. I was right again. I'm always right. This is actually crazy. Good thing I'm so humble, otherwise I'd be so annoying about this, right? Let's take a look. Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders, latest updates as console remains sold out at GameStop, Walmart, Target, Best Buy and others. Some were reportedly able to pre-order at Walmart over the weekend, but the console is now back to being unavailable. The Verge reports Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders are open at GameStop. Update sold out. This was 5 days ago. GameStop is currently offering another opportunity to pre-order the Switch 2. Looking at CNET, Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders, still no restocks at US retailers. Last week the pre-orders sold out in minutes, but we're keeping track for any new availability. So what happened, guys? What happened to the backlash? What happened to the outrage? What happened to the, oh, the Switch 2 is too expensive, no one's gonna buy it? Or, oh, Nintendo is just so greedy that they've finally burned their last bridge and no one's gonna buy the Switch 2. Oh, the Switch 2 is the next Wii U, right? No one's buying the Wii U, right? And listen, I've been covering the Switch 2 the whole time. We've been tracking its launch. We covered the leak earlier in 2024. We covered the reveal after the original Nintendo Direct. We covered the backlash for the games, and we covered the game prices here on the channel. We've been tracking the Switch 2 for a long time here, and while I have said that the Switch 2 could be the new Wii U, I said it was not going to be because of the price, but it's going to be because of the marketing. People think that this is just a Switch Pro, even though it is obviously not. This is clearly the next generation of the Switch. Many of the games on the Switch 2 will not be coming to the regular Switch. It will feel like a Switch Pro at launch because lots of the Switch games are coming with an enhanced version, but this is, no mistake, not a Switch Pro. This is the Switch 2, and that might be the biggest downfall. But a lot of people had a meltdown on Twitter, on X, on Reddit, everywhere, on YouTube especially. People were having an absolute meltdown at the Switch 2 price point at launch. People were saying that gamers are not going to buy this. People were saying that this is just Nintendo being greedy, even though I pointed out in my videos that if you adjust for inflation, the price of the Switch 2 is perfectly reasonable. In fact, it's actually less buying power than the Super Nintendo when the Super Nintendo was first revealed. You can check out the videos on my channel if you missed that, but $80 in 2025 is about the same as $60 in 2015, which is what you were paying for Xbox 360 games. So the truth is, and I've been the only adult in the room, it feels like, but the truth is that the Switch 2 is fairly priced, and maybe it's slightly on the high end to sandbag for the future of the console, right? If this is anything like the first Switch, we're going to be having this thing around for 8 years, right? And so they want to make sure that in 4 years the price is still reasonable, and inflation has been insane lately. And also we have global trade is in question right now. Tariffs and all these other things are like shocking the world at the moment, and maybe those will stick, maybe they won't. I don't know. That's not the point of this video, but the point is that the price of the Switch 2 and its games have actually been perfectly reasonable all along, and I was right. We see the Switch 2 sold out in minutes. Now, I already know you're writing a comment about scalpers, right? I already know you're doing that, and it's true that there were scalpers that purchased a large portion of the inventory for the Switch 2, I suspect. Obviously we can't prove it, but here's what that means. Okay, first of all, if all of the Switch 2s were pre-ordered, let's say 100% of them were bought by scalpers. Great news. Nintendo sold all of their Nintendo Switch 2 consoles in minutes. Let me repeat that again. If everyone who bought the Switch 2 is a scalper, then the outcome is that Nintendo sold all of their Switch 2 units in minutes. Guess who doesn't care if the buyer is a scalper? Nintendo. They get their money at the end of the day. It does not matter, right? Okay, so first bullet point, Nintendo sold out in minutes. Doesn't matter who bought it, Nintendo made their money, it sold out. Second bullet point, if the scalpers are in fact the ones that bought these consoles, what that means is they are going to sell them for more money, right? They're going to make a profit on these consoles most likely. And so what that means is there are Nintendo fans who actually think that $449 is a low price point for the Switch 2, further proving what I was saying all along, that the $449 is a totally reasonable price point. Some people are going to spend $500, $600, $700 on a scalped Switch 2, which means price was not the issue to begin with. So what we can learn here is that you have to ignore the internet outrage. Okay, the internet has no critical thinking ability. The internet is purely emotionally driven. It is purely rage bait. It is purely reactionary. Okay, everybody that you see making a YouTube video talking about how Nintendo's so greedy, everybody you see raging over on Reddit, everyone you see raging on Twitter, right? These are all people who are having an emotional reaction to a video game console, right? You have to understand that those people are not using logic. They're upset about a video game, right? They're having an illogical response here. And I said in my videos, I said, you can go back and watch, that the price point will not be the reason that the Switch 2 fails if it does fail, because normal people are not part of this crazy backlash campaign that is going on Reddit, on Twitter, wherever, right? The normal people, when this stuff came out, were at work. Okay, they were at work, they were, you know, making dinner for their kids, they were at school. Like these normal people didn't even know that people were upset about the price of the Switch 2, and look, it's completely sold out immediately. Let's see what Reddit has to say about this. Okay, half the internet was hating, yet the Switch 2 sold out in its first hours. Yeah, that really does make you think, doesn't it? Really does make you think, almost as if the forums on the internet aren't a reliable source of information. Wow, we have some high IQ individuals here over on Reddit who actually they actually understand the internet is a minor echo chamber that comes nowhere close to representing the actual population. I mentioned this in previous videos with Hogwarts Legacy. There was all sorts of outrage on Twitter. It went on to be one of the best-selling games of the year. I'm willing to wager that some of the people on that half still pre-ordered the Switch 2. Yes, that is exactly true. Remember, people are upset about the price on Twitter and they still pre-ordered it. Okay, I know that's what happened. I know it is, because I know people that have complained about the price of the Switch 2 on YouTube publicly in their videos, and then they have followed up making a "here's everything I pre-ordered on the Switch 2" video. Like, hello, like you actually have no principles. You have absolutely no principles. This is all illogic. All the people on that half still ordered one. They'll have a eBay post up in the morning for confirmed Nintendo Switch 2 pre-order, $900, 100% true. Almost as if the billion-dollar corporations do their fucking market research. This is exactly what I said, bro. I said that there are people at Nintendo that work there, and their literal job is to figure out what is the ideal price point of the Switch 2, right? If you can sell more units at $399 versus $449, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to make more money, right? The difference in the sales has to make sense, right? So if someone's doing their market research and they say, okay, if we bump up the price from $399 to $449, we're going to lose 1% of our customer base. It's like, okay, well, that's a no-brainer, because that's a what, 12% increase in price, right? No brainer. Of course they're going to do that, right? And it's just hilarious to me that like your average everyday guy who's just like not employed, education, training, you know, the NEETs, right? They're sitting at home in their dark room. Nintendo's actually ruining their reputation right now. It's like, buddy, someone makes $130,000 a year to figure out what the optimal price point of the Switch 2 is. There's no way you're gonna do it by having a knee-jerk emotional reaction on Twitter. Like, oh, $449 feels too high. Well, who cares how you feel? Are people gonna buy it or not? And the answer is clearly yes. No, didn't you hear? Anyone who pre-ordered a Switch 2 is just a corporate shill bootlicker, and the Switch 2 is definitely going to fail once the Nintendo shill fanboys stop artificially inflating the sales. Yes, that's right. Nintendo fans are artificially inflating the sales by purchasing the console, by completing sales, by doing the transactions. It's all artificial. Especially Reddit is always wrong. Fact. Oh, here we go. Here's the backtracking. Oh, it's happening already. I mean, as far as I can recall, people are really only mad at the gaming prices, not the console. Okay, so now we're revising history 6 days in. People were furious that the console was $449. They were losing their mind. Everyone thought it would be $399. It was trending on Twitter after the Nintendo Direct. This is absolutely not true. People were mad about both of them, okay? And the other part about this too is people weren't actually mad at the game prices. They were mad at Mario Kart being 80, right? A lot of the other games that are coming out are 70, and no one's talking about those goes, because 70 is the accepted price point for games these days. It's 70 when you buy a PS5 game. Like, it is what it is. Mario Kart being 80 is the one people were mad about. So this is just not even true, and it has all these upvotes, which is how I know I'm right, okay, because people agree with this on Reddit, so obviously they're wrong. And here's the other copium: scalpers would have bought them even if there was universal criticism. It's an item with limited stock that will be in demand. Yes, this is true, but the scalpers only make money if people actually pay them for it. So if the scalpers sell their product, then those people would have bought the products regardless. Here's another one: seriously, OP is honestly both naive and completely disingenuous. Who the hell thought Switch 2s would just be sitting on the shelf? Obviously they sold out. There's a limited amount, and the on-off tariff nonsense makes it a complete toss-up on how stock and price will pan out later in the year. So this is the again, the other backtracking that we have here. I remember vividly everyone was saying that Nintendo was raising their prices out of greed, and that tariffs were not the reason, right? People explicitly said that it's not tariffs, Nintendo's just greedy. And now we're backtracking again. Oh, obviously it sold out because of tariffs, right? Stupid. You're stupid. I'm sorry, you're stupid. I was right again. Just like any luxury product with a limited release, there's insane queues and it sells out immediately. We saw it with the sneaker releases for a decade. The PS5 was only obtainable through raffles for like a year post release, and every major company is caught on how this drives demand. It drives demand. Okay, so what you're saying is that 449 was never a problem. Like, if there's super high demand because it's in limited supply, then that means the price was never a problem, right? It's still in demand at 449. All right, the launch will be fine. The question is how it'll fare after launch. The prices might make it harder to sell to the general public. The people who pre-ordered are enthusiasts. Okay, so are they enthusiasts or are they scalpers, right? Like, the internet, we're just grasping at straws here. It's everything all at once. Somehow it's not, it can't possibly be that there's just people like that just want to buy the Switch 2, right? That it's just, oh, the new Switch is coming out, let's get it, right? Like, that's not it. It's either enthusiast or scalpers, or somehow it's both. Let's just say it's enthusiastic scalpers, right? And of course there's scalpers. Like, no. And also, this is historically not true, right? If you look at the Wii U, for example, which was notoriously a flop by Nintendo's standards, the Wii U sold worse in its first week than the Wii, right? I mean, this article is from 2013, so this is like, we're going to the source here, okay? January 11th here, and it says that the Wii U's first week did 400,000 and the Wii did 600,000 in the first week. This is in the USA alone. Okay, so the Wii U had a worse launch and then went on to be a worse selling console. If the Switch 2 has a fantastic launch, which we're already seeing, it's selling out everywhere, right? So okay, if the Switch 2 has a fantastic launch and pre-orders, is it then just gonna crater or fall off a cliff immediately? Like, I don't think so, right? I don't necessarily think so. I could be wrong, right? I could be wrong, but I think it's gonna be a perfectly reasonable launch. Will it be as good as the original Switch? I doubt it. I doubt the Switch 2 is going to outsell the Switch 1, because the Switch was an all new thing and it was an all new design, all new gimmick, all that other stuff. The Switch 2 adds to that, but it doesn't change enough to like really be innovative, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a Wii U out of the box. This person says, we just saw $1,000 graphics cards sell out. No chance people are reasonable here. And that, again, 100% true. The consumers cannot control themselves when it comes to their entertainment. Dude, no, people are buying this thing. Reddit is just a bunch of whiny babies. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I've said that since day one. Turns out I was right. And this, I think this person perfectly illustrates why so many YouTubers were so negative towards the Switch 2's reveal, right? Look at all the videos on YouTube from 2017, YouTubers who all said the Switch 1 will fail catastrophically and Nintendo should rather give up the hardware and go third party. Now the Switch will soon be the best selling console of all time. Drama just clicks better. Clicks bring money, so it needs drama. Again, this is the same thing. Everyone is just pandering to their base. People are freaking out on Twitter saying that the Switch 2 is too expensive. So okay, the YouTubers are going to do what the YouTubers are going to do. They're going to make a clickbait title and thumbnail saying, oh my god, the Switch 2 is ridiculously overpriced. That way people get their positive reinforcement. They click on the video just to hear the opinion that they want to hear. Yes, oh my god, yes, I'm right. Oh, I'm right, the Switch 2 is so expensive, right? And those videos do numbers, and then of course everyone who clicks on the video ends up buying a Switch 2 anyway, and that YouTuber is making Switch 2 content for the next 4 years. I mean, that's just how it is, right? Like, let's be real. Anyway guys, I just wanted to make this video for a couple of reasons. One, I wanted to update you guys on how the Switch 2 is going. I personally have not pre-ordered the Switch 2. I've been so busy the last few weeks that with the confusion on the pre-order date, and they postponed it, and then I was like, oh, it's the 24th, and then I kind of forgot because I've been busy. I was late to the party. Okay, I checked later in the day on the 24th. Obviously it was already sold out at that point, so I didn't get one. I'll get one eventually. I'm not too worried about it. I'd like to have it on launch day, but you know, if I don't get it on launch day, it's fine, right? It's fine. I don't want to have to pay scalper prices, but if I got a bump, if I pay an extra $50, maybe I'll consider doing it, but anything beyond that's ridiculous, so I'm not going to do it. So we'll see. I'll get my hands on a Switch 2 eventually. Not sweating it, but I personally was unable to get one. But this is the update and the current status of the Switch 2 hype. People are excited for it. People are buying it. It is selling out the pre-orders, and once again, I'm making this video to say that I was right. Oh yes, I love that. I love it. I love it. If you guys want more correct opinions, subscribe to the channel down below and click that bell button. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on the Switch 2 selling out. Which of the copiums are you huffing? Is oh, it's just all the scalpers, or oh no, it's just the enthusiasts and the regular people aren't gonna buy the Switch 2? Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts, and while you're down there, drop a thumbs up on the video. It really helps out the channel a ton. It helps get this video out into the YouTube algorithm so other people might see it. And with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been Omniarch. I will talk to you guys again soon. Peace.